Hello, everyone, and welcome to session number 2, Networking Doesn't Have to Be a Nightmare. My name is Kayla Wessner. I am a career coach with Walton Career Services, and I'll be serving as the moderator for this session. If you have any questions at all throughout the presentation, please feel free to use the chat. I'll also be giving away a prize at the end of this session, so please stay tuned to the very end. It's my pleasure to introduce to you all Carolyn Chitwood. She's the Director of Career Education for the Career Development Center. She has a great presentation, and I'm excited for all of us to be able to hear what she has to present this evening. Carolyn, it's up to you.
Thank you, Kayla, and welcome to all of our participants. Hopefully you guys have been getting some good information with the panel. We also have a couple of presentations and sessions after this. This one is a little shorter, so we're going to move kind of quickly, but hopefully be able to give you guys some good information, some places to start with regard to networking. You'll have a good sort of overview, I think, to be able to go beyond this and meeting with maybe a career counselor or advisor on campus in one of the career centers, or talking to some of your friends about networking. So in this presentation, we are going to cover a few things. We're going to talk first about destigmatizing networking. It has kind of a bad rap among some people. Why networking is important in general, but specifically to career focused types of pursuits. Expanding your current network. We all have a network already. It's just how do we open that up? LinkedIn, which is by far the easiest social media platform through which to network. And then lastly, following up. What does it look like to continue some of those conversations after you make the initial connection? So let's start with destigmatizing networking. There we go. Let's see. So again, a lot of people have this image of networking as like kind of creepy, maybe uncomfortable. People do it when there's something in like something that they can get out of it, right? But that's not really what networking is at all when it's done properly. Your network is just the connections around you. It's the people in your life, in your sphere. So it could be those closest to you, like family or friends. It may be people you're meeting in the classroom, your professors, your fellow students. It may be some people you work with or have worked with previously, either in a place of business or a volunteer capacity. And then of course, shared organizations, people in your community. So your network is made up of, again, the people in your sphere, but also the people in their spheres. So if I wanted to learn to play guitar, I've never held a guitar, don't know what it would even look like or feel like. But I know people who play guitar, and I know people who play guitar. So I might reach out to some of these people, maybe some family, maybe a classmate, maybe a neighbor, and say, hey, when you got started playing guitar, how did you get started? Who did you talk to? What resources did you use? You know, who might I talk to? Do you know anyone else who could help me figure out how to start playing the guitar? That's all networking is talking to the people around you and asking some questions. And it works both ways, right? If I'm the person who knows how to play guitar and other people want to know how, it doesn't bother me for them to come and ask me what it's like to play guitar and how I got started. I'm happy to give that information because I know what it was like to get started too. So networking, again, it's just a matter of talking to the people in your circle about things that you want to know more about. Now, clearly we do talk about this more in a career kind of context. It is important for several reasons. The first of which is building those relationships. If I make a connection with someone and don't talk to them for 3 or 4 years, and then all of a sudden pop up and say, hey, can you help me get a job? You work at a company that I really like. People aren't necessarily primed to help me with those sorts of things. But if I, over those 3 or 4 years, have been talking with them, sharing successes, learning about their, what their goals are, talking about my interests, then at a point where it might be beneficial for me to reach out to my network, and I do that, then more people are ready to help and excited to help me with whatever opportunity I'm looking for. It works both ways. We want to be able to help others too. If I'm in a position where if I know someone who is interested in the healthcare field and my aunt is a physical therapist and I can connect those two so that they can have a productive conversation, then it makes me feel good, but it also allows me to kind of give back when people have been helping me along the way. Networking is also important because it gives us an opportunity to gain career advice and support. If I don't know anything about a field, there's only so much research that you can do online, right? It's not until you really talk to someone. It's not until you really have a conversation, maybe even when we're not in the middle of a pandemic, show up and maybe shadow them for a day or two. So finding out more about career paths and companies and how people got their start, it opens us up to options we may never have even considered. It lets us know, if I'm interested in a certain field, do I need to go to graduate school? Is that going to be helpful for me? What kind of program should I be looking at? So we can get a lot of good information that way as well. And then, of course, it's an opportunity to look at, to learn about career opportunities. Over half of jobs and internships are never posted. And so while we absolutely want to be looking for internships or jobs or what have you through the internet and things like that, Handshake or Indeed, we're missing out if we don't also utilize our network to talk to people. And we need to let them know that we're interested in some of these things. So how do we expand that network? The easiest way is to just get involved in things that matter to you, things that are of interest. If I'm volunteering for something, if I want to be a teacher and I'm volunteering with kids, again, when it's appropriate, when we're thinking about social distancing, volunteering has a whole new mindset right now. But if I'm volunteering and doing something with kids, I'm going to interact with a lot of other volunteers and a lot of other people who also work with kids. So I'm going to start meeting people and talking to people and getting to know people who have my same interests and may be able to connect me with others that, who may be able to provide opportunities or give me more information. So being active in the community is definitely important. Professional development, attending those conferences and webinars and events, it's not just about the information, although that's fantastic and we definitely want to hopefully get something out of that. But it's also about the connections that we're making there. And it's important to talk to people, not just in our sphere, like not just in our career interests, but also look at some of the industries that share a skill set. If I'm interested in marketing because I like to be creative and I like communication, then I need to be looking at other industries that share those same skill sets and start talking to people in those industries as well, because we're going to have a lot in common and they're potentially going to be able to give me information I may not have otherwise known, and vice versa. I can help them as well. And then finally, asking for connections. Now, I don't necessarily mean showing up and knocking on your neighbor's door and saying, hi, I would like to go into education, help me please. That may work for you if you really know the neighbor, but it's about letting your network know that you're open to opportunities and there are things that you want. So for example, with me, I am in education. My mother is a nurse. If I were looking for a job or I wanted to know more about specific areas of education, it doesn't really feel like talking to my mom is the best fit because she works in a hospital. But 3 of her friends work in education. So if I let her know that I'm interested in something, then she can say, oh, you need to talk to Karen and Kenya and Janie because I think they're going to be good resources. So just letting our network know that we're open to things or that there are areas of interest means that we then potentially benefit from other people's networks as well. LinkedIn, to be honest, is probably one of the best, no, it is the best social media platform when we're talking about networking. And it's also a great way for people who don't have a connection in a career industry to be able to start to make those connections. I know it feels weird sometimes to get onto a social media platform and start talking to people that you don't really know, but that's what LinkedIn is for. That's the whole purpose, is to be able to find others and connect with people who share your professional interests. So the first thing that we want to do is build a profile and connect with members of our existing network. I want to connect with my classmates, connect with my professors, connect with my career coaches and advisors. If you're at the University of Arkansas, I will absolutely always accept a connection with you. We want to have an updated profile, and just to let you know, a lot of the career centers on campus will help you with this. We'll do a review for you. You can also go into the Career Studio in the University of Arkansas Career Development Center, which does LinkedIn profile reviews as well. You also, in LinkedIn, you want to join groups. And so when you get into LinkedIn, where there's the search bar, you can search for things like, it may be social media marketing, right? Since we're talking about social media, and you can join a group of people who are interested in that. Maybe it's I love giraffes. Maybe it's the University of Arkansas. But by joining those groups, you then are connected to, part of your network is now all of the people who are in that group. There are some groups out there, like I mentioned social media marketing, they've got over 100,000 people in some of these groups or more. And so by joining the groups, not only do you get some good information, but you start to be able to build connections within the group. That's really important for the alumni tool. So if you have a LinkedIn account and you search for the University of Arkansas and go to the University of Arkansas page, you can click on the alumni tool. There's a bar there. When you do, there are over 130,000 alumni of the University of Arkansas, and you can break it down by where they live, where they work, what they studied, what they're doing. So you can find people who have your same interests. And again, this is good when you don't necessarily know someone. Let's say that I want to go into healthcare and I don't know anyone in there. I can look through University of Arkansas alumni and connect with people. And when I do, I can say, hi, I'm a student at the University of Arkansas. I'm interested in the kind of thing that you're doing. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? We don't want to start with, hi, I'm interested in healthcare. I need a job. Will you do that for me? Because you will never hear from them ever again. But if you start with, hi, I'd like to learn more about what it is that you do, then people are more likely to jump in and help out there. And it's okay, again, if you don't know the person directly, especially while you're a student, this is a great opportunity for you to say, I'm a student, I am learning, and I'd like to learn from you. Once you start that conversation, ideally, they'll say, after you go back and forth a couple of times, they'll say, you know what, send me your resume. I think that there's someone you may want to talk to, or even better, who you really need to chat with is so-and-so. Tell them I told you to get in touch. And so that helps you build up your connections even more. Those, when we go beyond sort of the first person you're connected to, those are your second and third connections. So if I'm connected to Kayla and Kayla is connected to, we'll say Jonathan, then Kayla is my first connection and Jonathan is my second connection. So I can look through my second and third connections to see if there's anyone I might want to talk to, and then maybe say to Kayla, hi, do you mind would you introduce me to Jonathan? I'm interested in pearl farming and he's a pearl farmer. So I'd love to talk with him, Kayla. Can you help me get in touch with him? And then LinkedIn does have events. They've been doing this all along. Obviously they've ramped up in the pandemic era, but you can join virtual events, learn some good information, but also make connections that way as well. It's especially right now where it's harder to actually talk with people face to face. The events in LinkedIn can be very helpful. And then finally, following up, you want to make sure that when you do meet someone at an event or a meeting, or you're volunteering in the same place, or you have a good conversation in class, get in touch with them. Just a quick, nice to meet you. You don't want to ask for anything at first. Again, just like everything else I've been saying, we don't want to start with, hi, what can you do for me? But, you know, it was nice to meet you. I'd love to talk more about that thing we were talking about, and learn more about why you're also interested in German, or whatever the case may be. Make sure you keep up that contact. This is something where even just once a year, just checking in, hey, haven't heard from you in a while, wondering what's going on. And that way, like I said toward the beginning of the presentation, you're not reaching out to people when it's been 5 years and you have had no contact and they're wondering, well, why are they contacting me now? Oh, they must need something, right? And then make sure that you always say thank you when someone does you a favor. Not only is it just a polite thing to do, but it also means that in the future, people are more likely to want to help you out and to want to give you advice where possible. So that's it. I told you it was going to be very quick. We had just a short period of time, but I do want to open it up and see if we have any questions. Let's see. I'm not able to click on the question. So Kayla, can you tell me if...
Yes, we have several questions coming in the chat. So the first
Okay.
one, would you recommend joining LinkedIn early in college, or would it be more practical to wait until closer to the job search process?
I would recommend early in college, because not only will you be able to build up some of those connections early on, and that way, you know, instead of just someone that you've known for 6 months when you're trying to get you know, maybe looking around for a job, it's someone you've known for 2 or 3 years. But you can also look for people who have a similar career path to what you are hoping to do, and then ask them, when you got into your sophomore, junior, senior year of college, what organizations did you join? What classes did you take? How did you get the internships that you got? And they can give you more information that'll be helpful, not just beyond college, but while you're actually in it. Good question.
So our next question, are LinkedIn job postings effective? I have never received a callback or email from any of the hundreds of jobs I applied for on LinkedIn. I always got an interview for the jobs I applied for on Handshake or company websites.
LinkedIn job postings, it's not, I will say it is not the first place that I start. I will start with Indeed, doing the advanced search on Indeed or Handshake, depending on what I'm looking for. It's not it's not a bad thing to look through there, but a lot of times with the LinkedIn job postings, because they're posted on LinkedIn, they're also waiting for you to connect with the company or connect with the recruiter through LinkedIn. So I know of some people who on LinkedIn, if they post something and an applicant hasn't also connected, they're not even going to consider talking to them. So you might also try that. But not every platform works for every person. That's another good question.
Awesome. So we have time for 2 more here. One, how can I stay safe while making connections and messaging people on LinkedIn? People I do not know, seeing the university I attend, where I work, etc. Can't help but have this concern, especially as a woman.
I 100% agree. LinkedIn allows you to manage how much information is visible to people out there. So you can have just your name and you know, where you work, or just your name and student at University of Arkansas, if that's of concern to you. So I completely understand. You can also, there are ways for you to be anonymous, but that sort of limits what you're able to do with some of these other features. So you can limit the amount of information that's out there. Anything that you put in there, like if you upload a resume, take out any identifying information and that's true of any website. Take out your address, take out your phone number. And then you might also have a career counselor or someone look over your profile to make sure that any information that is there isn't considered confidential and wouldn't be problematic for someone else to see.
Perfect. And then our last question, if you meet a contact in a large Zoom meeting, what is the best way to network if you weren't able to actually interact with them during the Zoom call?
Well, if you can find them online, obviously, then, and connect with them on LinkedIn, then that's great. You might also ask whomever was running the panel, you might ask them if they would connect you. Like, I am interested in meeting this person, and rather than asking for their information, would you pass along my information to them? So it gives the other person, especially when we were talking about security concerns, it gives the person you're contacting a little bit more reassurance. And then, just reaching out and saying, hi, I noticed that you and I were both in the same both in the same Zoom meeting. I'd love to talk about it and find out your thoughts, or find out why you thought that was of interest.
Awesome, that's great. So that's all the time we have questions for this evening. I want to go ahead and let everyone know that I've just put in the chat the Zoom links to the next presentations. Thank you so much, Carolyn. This has been an awesome presentation. And before everyone leaves, I do want to announce our door prize winner. Our door prize is a $20 Amazon gift card donated by the University Career Development Center, and it is going to Montanique Davis. Congratulations, Montanique. If you will send me a message in the chat, just letting me know your email address, we will get in contact with you to get your gift card to you. Thank you all again for attending our session. If you have any questions, please meet with a career coach or a career counselor, and we hope to see you at the next 2 sessions. Thank you all.
Thanks.